Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Four Letter Nerd podcast from Hyro Geekix Unlimited. I'm Lady Sidana, your host for tonight, where we'll be talking about the totally rad 80s. And joining me tonight, we have Sweaty Mayhem. I'm confused about that choice, but we'll roll with it. Rather Grouch, like
It's one of those days. It's one of those days. It's okay.
It
Take
is.
your time.
In the ever amazing, no nickname needed, Michael Bergie. Thank you for joining me this evening, gentlemen. Again, today's today was the wrong day for me to host, but that's all right. Today we are talking about the 80s. What we loved and what we would love to see again. And I'm not going to waste any time on this. And I'm just going to ask who wants to go first with their picks, because I know that I'm going to be cracking up at the things that you have to say. So, Sweaty, Raw.
In that case, if you think he's going to be laughing, well, I guess,
I 100% know that we're going to be laughing.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
It's okay. Not a doubt. There are very few things that I am sure of. That is one of them.
You know, you are right, but
it sounds like Rob wants to go first. That's what it sounds like.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Take it away, Ern.
I mean, we're gonna start. Yes, there is a Netflix show. I did not like that Netflix show. It was okay. I want something more akin to this. It doesn't have to be super G1-ish, but I'm a Transformers fan. There's a reason I have I could fill an entire room with the Transformers that I own. I want an old school show like this where it's not focused on kids. Because I keep coming back.
You sound like me.
I keep coming back to this. Yes, I saw your hand, Mr. Mayhem.
I just want to say those guys kind of look like Megazoids. Like Starscream in the back kind of reminds me of the Megazoid. Does anybody notice that?
I'm sorry. Are you Power Rangers?
Yeah, he is. He's putting that in there.
All I'm saying,
you have contacts. You have contacts on, right?
If anything, first of all,
gentlemen.
If anything, I was just trying to say that maybe Power Rangers stole from Transformers. That's all I was trying to say.
We all know that we have a very Asian influence here, and that's where the Power Rangers originally came from, the same continent. So to have those similarities is not surprising. Not at all surprising.
Just want to say Digimon all day. Go ahead, Reggie.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah, I would like a classically themed Transformers show that brings it back to being about the robots, not necessarily their interactions with humans. I want to see the conflict between the good, the bad, and the gray, the robots having their issues and their discussions. And I want them to not all sound like Optimus Prime. That's my biggest gripe with the Netflix show. They all have voices like this. They all sound auto-tuned and automated. It's like, no.
They all sound like T-Pain?
Yes, they all sound like T-Pain.
By the street.
Yeah.
Yes, Optimus, you going down.
Yes, it's like I tried to watch it. I literally got.
Can you imagine Megatron doing the damn thing, the dance that he paid?
You're actually doing the robot.
Don't shoot me for not knowing this guy's name, but whoever it is in the back giving zero fucks is a whole vibe back there. With his legs crossed.
That's side swipe.
This one here.
That's side swipe.
No,
I'm sorry. Look at Ironhide. Ironhide's got his leg crossed like he's
God.
He's sitting there like from the Sharon Stone movie where she's about to cross the legs and recross the leg. That's when he has that look on.
Not Basic Instinct, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody talking about OSHA violations on the bottom right. This picture is giving.
That's Sunstreak.
Yep, that would be Sunstreak. He does that, yes.
Yeah.
So I just want to take it back to something like this. The Netflix shows have the right idea, and they're in the right direction. Their heart was in the right spot. They're going old school. They're like, hey, it's about the war for Cybertron. But those voices, man, I couldn't get past those voices. I couldn't do it.
I understand. I understand.
But I enjoy Transformers. I collect them. I read about them. They're my jam. And of course, to go along with them, if they can do it right, because the last movie I got, I had high hopes for, and then it was mediocre. It's got to be TMNT. Granted,
which movie are we talking about?
Hold on, the Transformers movie was pretty traumatizing too.
No! Oh, the last Transformer. I stopped after the third one. After the third one, there are no Transformers movies until Bumblebee.
No, I'm talking about the animated one from
not the Michael Bay experience.
that movie is traumatizing, but they didn't realize the effect that they had on the children and the hold they had on children when they made that movie.
They didn't think of the
whole
children.
Reason the G.I. Joe movie got completely rewritten to where Duke does not die. They're like, oh, he's in a coma. We must save him. Optimus Prime died and those kids lost their shit. Let's not do that.
Rightfully so.
Cried in the movie theater. Cried.
You cried for Optimus Prime?
Hell yeah, dude. I was 6 years old when that movie came out.
We were young. We were young people watching our hero die.
Yeah. In like the first 10 minutes of the freaking movie.
After he came through with that dramatic scene where he transformed. He shot like 5 or 6 of them in a battle, and he's like, one shall fall. Like, come on, like you didn't cry?
Nah,
Mayhem, you have no heart.
No heart. Oh, wait, no heart.
None.
No heart. We know what that means. Got no heart.
Wait, no, I don't think I deserve it.
Just saying.
And that's why we all have trauma.
Yes, no. So no, the Turtles movie. The first one was, and the second one, I was like, "What are you doing, Michael Bay? Somebody take these movies away. Take my childhood out of Michael Bay's hands, please." They did.
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
They did a good job. Bumblebee was dope.
Yeah. Tell me that the first 10 minutes of Bumblebee, you don't want that into a movie. Feature length, make that a 90-minute movie. I'm telling you, that would make $1 billion in the box office.
It would so fast.
Oh God,
give me that as a movie.
There's so many fans.
I was like, oh shit, are you serious? I'm like, oh shit, yes, give me that.
That would make $1 billion at the box office all day.
Are we?
I don't care how Bumblebee gets along with kids. I really don't.
100 million.
Along with kids. I really don't. I grew up on Transformers and Gundam and Voltron. I want to see giant robots fighting. But anyway, off of that.
Hi.
Ninja Turtles.
So what do you Mayhem from Facebook News? Are we allowed to curse on an 80s nostalgia show? I just kind of feel like it's out of.
They cursed in the 80s.
They were like, holy snap.
No, sir. I can contradict you right now. First 5 minutes of Transformers, the movie. Like 10th line in the movie. Shit. What are we going to do now?
Yep.
Also in Goonies, in the first like 10 to 15 minutes, they said they swear a hell of a lot.
Yep.
Oh my God, Goonies. You just brought me back. All right. I'm going to fall back.
Receipt bits. Got them.
Wait, is everybody okay giving the year that they were born right now?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Rago first.
79.
78.
77.
76 plus 10.
And that says it all.
Right there.
Right there.
Sir, the PG and G movies in our generation, there was violence, there was nudity, there was profanity.
Boobies. There was so much boobies.
This was PG-13. And like, yeah, kids can watch this.
With parental
guidance.
guidance.
Then they got soft. And they're like, kids can't see any of that.
Parental advisory.
Exactly.
Got it in the 90s.
That's right. Anyway, Turtles.
Anyways, moving on.
I want a new Turtles movie that is not done by Michael Bay. Michael Bay's can say the fucks about the turtles. Get them the fuck out. Get out of here.
Yo, I just realized him and Mia are making up their own sauces in the back of their pickup. I got the Michael Bay's. It's an explosive flavor. Get out of here.
It's an emulsion.
I don't do Cash App. I do singles. Get out of here.
Got the Michael Bay's for you.
Oh my God.
Right here. Yeah, I want a new Turtles movie.
All right, we have a lot to get through. Let's move it along.
I'm trying. I keep getting interrupted.
I know you do. I'm sorry.
I know.
Please
It's
continue.
okay. It's okay. But that's all right. I want new Turtles. That's all. The TV show, the cartoons, there's only one cartoon I didn't like, but all the rest, they've been awesome. They can stay on track. I need a new Turtles movie that follows in line with those cartoons. Basically, I needed them to stop Warner Brothering up my Ninja Turtles movie. That's what I need. There you go, ma'am. I need them to stop Warner Brothering up my Turtles movies. Throw that back. Call back last week. What's up? But yes, I need new Turtles. I need either the funny Turtles from the 80s where it's all comedy and they're just having fun, or like this, that brand new video game that just came out that most of the people I know have played and enjoyed. It's a dope game. It takes me back to the arcade games of the Turtles and makes me think of the TV show and how bad the movie was that last came out.
You started so hyped and then you're like, no.
Yeah, it's okay. Anyway, so that's that. And so, yeah.
Oh my God, he broke up Boogaloo. Oh my God.
Let me just say, I wish I betted my life savings on this because I knew he was gonna bring it up. That's why I didn't include it.
Oh my God.
What up?
My cousins and I, my sister and I, we all go cupcake.
Yes. All right. So, true to life, me and one of my best friends, we are literally Turbo and Ozone. I am a short black dude that will pop and lock, and he is a Puerto Rican that has all the floor work. So we love this movie. We actually went out as Halloween as these two guys, and yeah, we had fun. And
Bergie's the guy in the blue tank top with the white cutoff shorts and flip flops.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
All right. I can see that.
Wow, that's harsh.
Show them legs,
look
Bergie.
at those thighs, Berge.
I do have thick
Yes,
legs.
I love Breaking. I love both movies. I want to see another actual Breaking movie.
Breaking to Electric
Save the
Boogaloo.
Last Dance. Yes, we've got
Hilarious.
all the knockoffs of Save the Last Dance that came out after it. That literally every single movie after Breaking, where it was urban youth plus white female, literally stole the plot of this movie. Literally. And I want another breakdancing movie. I don't want Save the Last Dance. I don't want whatever.
I apologize for all the women of the Caucasus that have been.
No, that's not
the Caucasus Women Council, CWC.
As a member of the delegation of the Caucasus Mountain, the mounts of Caucasia, I apologize.
Reggie,
no, there's no apology needed. I just need another breaking movie. I miss old school breakdancing movies.
Hell
like, yes, everyone does the new hip hop and pop dances with the ballet and all this.
Electric Boogaloo, that dance that Turbo did in that little cabin with the broom and everything.
Yes.
That was ahead of its time. That was some good stuff.
Yes. And as a child, of course, I didn't see the string or the can at the bottom of the broom. So I'm like, oh my God, he's dancing with the broom, and I need to learn how to do this. And as I got older, I'm like, oh, there's a string. Oh, there's a can at the bottom. Oh,
yeah,
well,
we were dumb, but it was still good.
So I would love a new old school break-in movie.
Oh man, I haven't seen this movie in forever.
Reggie, you knocked
Special
it out the
K,
park.
Turbo, and Ozone.
You knocked it out the park with this one. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And you see I think the urban culture is so funny. It influences so much that we could have had Breaking 2 and done without everything else, with that maybe exception of the one with Omarion and I forgot the stupid name, but with Fat Man Scoop, Crooklyn, Timberland, and even Chris Brown.
Breathe in, breathe out.
That is such a hype song. But no, I agree. If we had Breaking 2, it'd do really well because you stick to the core audience and the ethnicity. Like, look at Les Twins. You guys who know Les Twins are? Okay, so
maybe by picture.
So that they're two street artists. They were street artists who started out in France. They're twins. They took my idea where I wanted a twin brother and we could just do stuff together. And they got so popular that they not only competed in so many championships, they went on tour with Beyonce. You've seen them on.
Oh, were they the ones that were on like not So You Think You Can Dance, but that other one?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I know who you're talking about. Okay,
they're amazing.
I know who you're talking about now.
And they're not the only breaking or pop locking or just competitive dance people that are out there. There's more. I'm sure you've seen the clips, but like if we got them in Breaking 2, it'd be amazing. It sticks to the core audience. It shows people actually doing these moves that are ridiculous. Like, come on. And it would kill it. But instead, we got Save the Last Dance or whatever that's called.
That was the first one, and then they just kept remaking that same movie with different actors and actresses.
Also, if we can get Burgie and Hoochie Daddy shirts, I think we'd all be happy. I think we'd all be happy.
No, you would not.
Yes, we'll shave your legs. We'll get you to do some lunges. You'll be all right.
Well, I won't joke. Like back in the day, I could actually do a little bit of breakdance. I could do that stuff. Now I'm probably bust a hip. I'm too old.
Told you he was black. I told you this man.
Just leave it. You would bust. You would bust it. Just say you would bust the. Then we can guess what, and we can take bets. Maybe spin a wheel.
What happened to Burgie's hospitalized? What do you do?
Burgie gonna bust
the dance.
I would love to see. You know what? Never mind. I'll save that for later.
Daddy shorts.
No one wants to see me in that. I don't want to see that.
I just think it's like it's part of my culture. It's what I grew up with. I need a new breaking movie. All right, granted, yes, we do have new Nintendo consoles out there. I get that, but this is just the intro to it. This is the flavor. The main course comes after the flavor. Because what I want a new Sega system. Like, I'm sorry, I know Sega's out of the game. I want a new Sega
Mike.
system.
Mike from Facebook News. You've shown a lot of what appears to be NES systems, and we are confusion.
That was the flavor.
But you said Sega.
Yeah, Sega came afterwards.
Yeah, but you
let the man talk.
Go ahead, ask your question.
We're still on the first person talking.
He's removed himself. Michael has left the chat.
Sweaty Mayhem, please come back. But go ahead, Reggie.
Yes, no. I put the NES up there as flavor so you can see when this system was also released. Because I played the ever-loving crap out of this. This was my first console when it came out. And everyone else had Nintendos. I had a Sega. And everyone's like, oh, Sega. And then it turns out Sega knew how to make better consoles. Nintendo just had better advertising. And so I'm a Sega guy through and through. I love me some Sega. I've owned every console except for I've owned them all. The Sega Master System 2, the Genesis. I did not get a Genesis 2. Sega CD. I had a Game Gear. I had Dreamcast. I had all of that. I'm a Sega guy. I enjoyed the games they put out. I'm glad they still make games, but I want a new Sega console. I miss my Sega consoles.
All right.
I miss there being, more than just the 3 plus Steam if it does stuff.
A moment of silence for those of us who were broken in on the Intellivision.
Are we supposed to pour out a drink?
Pouring out for Stampede and Frogger.
Matt, you don't understand how much of a gamer I am. Intellivision, ColecoVision, Atari, then NES, got rid of that, Sega Master System, Super Nintendo.
Dude, I had
everything after that.
I had a Nintendo Virtual back in the day.
Ooh, that thing hurt my eyes.
Oh, that gave me headaches.
It hurt my eyes.
That gave me headaches.
Yes, I enjoyed the Virtual Boy, but man, that red on black background vectors, hologram. No.
I just want to say that I agree with you. I think Sega was a better system, but SNES, Nintendo's generally had better games. They generally got the better. Like look at Aladdin. You look at Lion King.
It was on the Genesis. It was on
the Genesis, but they were much better played on the Super Nintendo. Even Street Fighter.
You know what game took Sega Genesis to the top of the pile?
Sonic.
Mortal Kombat. Come on.
They had
Mortal Kombat for fighting.
They had the blood.
They had the blood. Mortal Kombat, and you had Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct had the code. You could put in for the blood or no blood because parents got mad about it back in the day.
Yeah.
Those two fighting games were like, you could only play those on Sega. That's why Sega grew. And then they came out with Nintendo, what was it, 64 after that. And then that's when Super Smash Bros. And whatnot came in and destroyed Sega.
Technically, Sega destroyed Sega because Sega of America wanted to advertise more, and Sega of Japan said, "Nah, we advertise enough. You're good."
Mm-hmm. How's that working out for him now?
Yeah, exactly.
Not great.
It's a footnote.
Exactly. So, all right.
All right, moving on.
Shows. All right, here's a cavalcade of shows because I stole someone else's idea. Cat, thank you. Because I grew up in the 80s. I watched so many shows.
Yeah.
So I'll do a new Alf. I will watch a new Alf. I'll watch a new Knight Rider. Miami Vice, yes, I will watch a new Miami Vice. Love Boat, this is here nor there. Cheers, they have a few shows that have been like Cheers, but nothing that's been solid like Cheers. But once again, it's the 80s. This was the start of all these types of shows, and everybody's getting into them. People made their clones, and just the 80s shows in general. I enjoy them. I want to see them back, like Moonlighting.
Moonlighting.
That show was so good. Oh, hold up. My bad. I've messed up. Hold on. Speak your mind, sir.
What? I didn't say anything.
You ain't got to say nothing. I saw your face. You ain't got to say nothing.
Listen here, you dinosaur. Leave me alone, okay?
Oh, my goodness. Sir.
I love you all.
Oh, my goodness. Sir.
I'm hoping Cat's frozen. Oh, no, she's not.
Anyway, in the Wonder Years, that was my show. Because, I was a young man. And I'm watching this young man grow up on TV. I enjoyed these things.
Winnie Cooper.
I want my shows back. Like, look at this. Like, most of this is actually, I watched all of these shows. I can't even lie. I watched all of these shows. I can't even lie. I don't know why Star Trek is there, because that was the early 90s.
Those 90s.
Yeah. I believe it started in the very late 80s, though. Maybe 89. It might have been.
You got
89.
Perfect Strangers in there, which I would love to watch again.
Okay.
WKRP and MASH were 70s more than anything. $6 Million Man was 70s.
They carried
but it still ran in the 80s.
Yeah.
They carried over
Star Trek TNG started in the late 80s. It was on 89. At the same time as 21. Yeah, 80, 89.
MTV, yeah, I wish they brought music videos back, because that would be great, because I hate seeing 16 and pregnant. Like, who cares?
You have a lot of these shows rode that line, like spilled over from 70s to 80s and 80s to 90s. So that we'll accept them all as part of the 80s nostalgia.
God, Facts of
But
Life.
A lot of great shows.
Love that show.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Right? See? Hey, Mr. Sweaty Mayhem, Reggie.
But why would you have the $6 Million Man and not the Bionic Woman?
Shows?
Yes. So I remember MASH used to come on on Saturdays, and I used to hate it, but I used to watch it every now and again because it just come up like, what is this weird old show? But
weird
Miami
old
Vice,
show.
Yes.
Mute him.
Sir?
Mayhem's being real disrespectful tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. It looks like we had some technical difficulties. I apologize.
You know what? I'm not gonna be mean.
We have to wrap this up before it's Mayhem's bedtime. So let's.
Yeah, those young kids got to get to bed early.
The baby.
Anyway, Gary Coleman, obviously, $6 Million Man. And obviously the police force over here with what's his name? Is it
Punch?
Oh, no, what's the actor's name?
Oh, the actor
Eric Estrada.
There you go. That had Eric Estrada. I remember.
Eric Estrada will be at Rhode Island Comic Con November 5th through the 7th, by the way.
Nice.
And so
the 10-year anniversary of Rhode Island Comic Con. Get your tickets.
Plug.
Sign up to volunteer.
Let's say I'm trying to think actually from like this year for that we will have people from MASH at it. We'll have Chips at it. Yeah, it's funny.
God, Chips and MTV. I think I agree with Virgie. Like we need another music box television channel that because unfortunately we're talking about the 80s, but some of the best music videos came out in the late 90s, like 95 and on.
I
and
miss Pop-Up Video.
Oh, that was great.
Pop-Up Video.
Yeah. Wow.
I love Pop-Up Video.
I have an issue. The boss lady was speaking to us, so I have an issue. So she said this because she knows how I feel about that scene. I hate that scene.
Go Ninja Go.
I hated it when it came out.
Go Ninja Go.
I made a funny.
Yeah, I hated that scene when it came out. Even then, I was like, "Yo, why is this in my Turtles movie?" Yeah, no, boss lady, stop that. Don't do that. No.
I actually really love the theme song from the first live action TMNT movie, the TURTLE Power.
TURTLE.
That song slapped back then. You really felt you were doing moves and things. You really thought you were doing something.
Exactly. It's like, oh, what's this? Yeah, I'm about that. All right, so those are my picks. What do you think?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Reggie. Those are some really fantastic picks. I have to admit that I've watched like all of them. And that's on being a latchkey kid, which I think all of us except the baby over here probably were.
I was. Don't answer the door if it's not me.
Reggie, are you ready for Bergie, or should we do Mayhem first?
We should do Mayhem next.
Okay, Mayhem, please regale us with the shows that you were still in diapers when you were watching.
No,
it's gonna be like
right.
Rugrats. It's gonna be like Rugrats,
86,
Foofer,
86,
the real
baby.
Ghostbusters,
Monsters, real monsters,
which are all great shows
Monsters.
because although you guys did it first, it's arguable that the '90s did it best. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
we won awards.
Honestly,
I mean,
Animaniacs. Honestly,
boom.
If you think about it, the '80s going into the '90s had the best cartoons. I don't care. From then on, the stuff in 2000s, 2010s, and now is trash.
Well, I think to your point, I think 80s into the 90s really had this renaissance era of films, TV shows, and music that pushed everything forward. And now it just feels like everyone is sampling from those eras. And I use the word sampling, which is more of a music term, but it's the same thing for TV and films, where you're getting a lot of these things from the late 80s, early 90s, and even earlier than that are being redone now because they were so popular back then. But I've yet to see them be as successful.
Right. I argue that although some of the shows that I grew up in diapers watching, I don't think we can bring it back as they are. You know what I'm saying?
No, a lot of things that when you try to rewatch them, you see a lot of problematic stuff that as kids we just didn't really notice.
But we enjoyed it. Arguably, a lot of 90s cartoons, because we're talking about cartoons, not necessarily live shows.
Right.
A lot of 90s cartoons can stand still as it is. Batman, the animated series, we can get a season 3 and it'll be amazing so long as it continues what it was doing. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, the previous Batman, the live, oh my God, I'm gonna forget his name, and anyway, the previous live
Adam
action.
West?
There you go. I couldn't remember. I was thinking Adam Wesker, and I'm sure that's Resident Evil.
That's
and we can't bring close-ish. Well, we can't bring it back as it is, But that's two different platforms to extend. Well, maybe we'll discuss that another time. Let me go forward. I don't want to waste any more time about my shows. I really stuck to two. The first things first is Gremlins, right? Arguably, Gremlins, the first one is the best. The second one got a little more comedic, I have a Reddit post in which I talk about whether Greta, the female gremlin, is either a mutation or it could be considered a trans female. And it's just more theoretical because I'm just like, this is just movie magic. Now, obviously, there's been previous talks about bringing it back, but being that it's so culturally offensive to an extent, it may not necessarily work, Right. So here's my idea. We bring it back, but we make it like Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix, where it's really dark and horrific. Obviously, better writing because I don't know what they were doing over there. We can make it. I think the next one, do we have a picture of Spike? Can we get on a picture on Spike, please? So we can make it so that way Spike either survives or a remnant of him gets reactivated. Now, Spike was probably the most bad. My child is here. Bad but gremlin, and we can make it so that way they're like, oh wow, it's just gremlins, but they're like killing people, and it's like horrific on what they're doing. We can start off in a small town, and we can do a series where season 1 starts off in this small town, and then season 2 can be like, oh, they're expanding into the world.
I think with these Gremlin movies, the first one was so successful, but you can't recreate that because part of the thing with the first Gremlins movies, we didn't know really what was going on, and that's what made it like scary and gave it more the horror aspect. And so I actually appreciate that they didn't try to reinvent that and just went for campy because they realized where their money was in marketing, was in the Gizmo doll, and like so they decided to like, let's expand this and make it a wider audience. I didn't like the movie, but I appreciated that they didn't try to, like I said, like redo that because it's never successful like that.
That's fair enough. I think now we can actually really create a more horrific.
I think we could deep dive into that, but I kind of hope that they stick with the puppets and don't rely on CGI for that.
Yeah. Unless they got a really good budget.
Hearing is you want to cross between the original Gremlins and Critters. You want it to be Gremlins, but graphic like Critters.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It sounds good. Yeah.
Can you imagine like this Spike comes back and he talks like Bane.
You merely adopted the grotesque. I was born into it.
Yes, and then they can
Exactly.
also address like the irresponsibility people had with like handling Gizmo. Like honestly, I know Gizmo's cute and all, but Gizmo belongs in a cage of sorts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, he was. That was a theft.
yeah,
He
is
stole
true.
that pet.
And he reaped what he sowed. Because
Right.
he said
Not only him, but that entire town.
Yes.
right?
That man said, "You are not ready for this responsibility." He told him that you can't handle this.
And it forever, every time I see one of those step chairs, you know, those mobility chairs for the steps, I always think of that scene where it goes just flying up there. Yeah. I would never get one of those for that reason. You just never know when you hit that button, and instead of it's like,
wasn't it part of that show besides Life Alert? I'm falling, I can't get up. He hit the life alert. Oh my goodness. No, I agree. Gizmo, maybe a bigger cage, maybe an encapture of sort, a zoo of sort, but because come on, let's be humane. But that man should not have said you're not ready for this responsibility.
And she really had no business being as sexy as she was. Very Veronica Lake of her.
Remember at the end, she survived. She was in the bathroom.
Yeah, and she gets a boyfriend too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
she got.
I don't know how willing he was to be in that relationship.
Right.
Excuse me. By the end of it, he was like, "All right."
No teeth.
I don't remember that, but you know,
we don't judge anybody's kinks.
Yeah, when she was kissing him all over his face, and then he kind of like went, "All right."
He did that.
He did that. I remember that distinctly.
You know what? Anyway, if they make another Gremlins, I would definitely like Spike and Greta to appear.
I want to see what him and his her and her husband's kids look like. That hybrid right there.
We're gonna move this forward.
No, we're
like that.
Lou Ferrigno's The Hulk. I think at this point, as a Marvel fan, I just want more Hulk action, more Hulk beat 'em up stuff, maybe deep dive into the character, which they're doing in the comics as well, as to who Dr. Banner is. They've been doing that for a while. I think, honestly, if we got another Hulk where pick whatever bodybuilder can act, honestly, and it looks amazing. Yes, baby, you're 100% right. That can act and definitely do like the stuff. It'd be amazing. It could be a short series. It does not have to be like season 6 of this. It could be like 2 seasons, and I think would be okay. And it could go into the Marvel MCU, so long as they have the rights. I think we could all say the theme song. I don't know why is so iconic. Yeah, that. That here maybe not so much, but you know, whatever. But look at this guy. This guy's jacked. Like, you would believe he's the Hulk. And we could do so much with CGI too. So now we can actually have other. Excellent. Did I just get a praise? Am I on the right show?
Yeah, you on the right show. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There.
Oh, how the turntables.
Oh, how the turns of tables, you sir.
We could bring back the 80s, the 80s magic of this, and also incorporate some new age Marvel villains, Marvel characters, just personalities. I really believe if we brought back the Incredible Hulk, it'd be amazing. It'd be like a gateway drug, but obviously not with the maybe I shouldn't have said gateway drug. It'd be a gateway series.
Hey, there we go. That's better.
I don't do drugs, kids.
I think that's what they're hoping She-Hulk becomes.
Yes.
But by now, though, they're never going to go back to the angry Hulk.
No.
Really?
I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to say never, but
that's
at least, I'm going to say at least 10 years.
Unless they reboot it, we're not getting Angry Hulk. They're going to stick with the Mr.
And that's what I think they're going to finish however many phases they had planned out and then do their hard reboot, and we'll probably get them then. So it just depends on how long it takes them to do that. Which is why I said about 10 years. I would love for them to redo some stories that they couldn't do because they didn't have the X-Men at the time and put the X-Men in.
Ooh,
I think a lot of people would be looking forward to that.
I'd watch AVX.
I'm the people.
Oh, hell yeah, AVX.
Avengers. And those were really my 2. I stuck to 2 so that way I can let you guys shine. Once again, bring back Gremlins, bring back the Incredible Hulk, and I think we could really make some magic. Man for president, send me my check.
Okay. Okay.
You and the
Alright,
checks.
so-
Gosh.
Listen.
you're obsessed.
Yeah.
Bergie
Still waiting.
knows.
He's still waiting for that check.
Bergie
We all are.
Bergie, you're next.
And moving on.
Reggie, you're next.
All right, what are you throwing up on there for me first?
Ooh, I got you.
See, now this is one that I've been hoping for to have redone.
Did
If
you
you're
not
talking
like Thundercats Go?
They have like 3.
Thundercats,
legit-
no.
mute yourself, Grouch. Just mute yourself on that one.
They have
Thundercats
like
go.
3
Oh.
Thundercats, no.
Listen,
Yeah.
really quick, Bergie.
Yeah.
I know he's gone. I know a lot of 80 shows were brought back and redone. They literally have like 3 iterations.
No, they do.
Of Thundercats.
So they did Thundercats originally, obviously from the 80s, like 81 to 84 or so, and then they redid it back in like early 2000s. So they did a series of it. It went one season. It was actually
decent.
really good. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. They had a good storyline out, and then it just flopped. They just didn't do it. And the reason being, it didn't sell toys, so they didn't put another season out. And then they went with Thundercats Go, which was just an abomination of a cartoon that should never have been done. And everyone's like, well, it's not for you. It's for the kids. Well, the problem is the kids aren't even tuning in to watch it. So, I'm just saying. But give me this. There's been rumors for years about this being a live action movie. They've actually talked about this being a live action movie. I remember at one point, Charlize Theron was rumored to be Chitara was one rumor at one point I heard. There was somebody back in the day, I think it was back in like the early 2000s. They were talking about Brad Pitt for Lionel. But I mean, I guess you could have went with it if you're doing it. I would love to see them redo it now, and I think there's some people I would love to see. Like, honestly, you got Panthro. I want to see The Rock or Vin Diesel. I actually think Vin Diesel would play Panthro pretty good. You've got some good options, but give me this as a cartoon series and redo it properly. I think Netflix, if they got their hands on this, could do something like they did with Voltron, which went 5 seasons. They could probably give me something.
You'll never beat us, Mumra. We're all about family.
I
so hate you. You got family behind you.
I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry.
No, I got you. Hey, man, it's
This one is one I honestly would like to see as a live action as opposed to another animated series.
There's one where this guy made a 3D rendition of it and it looked amazing.
For
I
the
would take
opening
the 3D
intro
rendition.
the intro.
Yes.
Oh my god, so good. Give me that as a TV series.
Yeah, I would love to see
go
that.
with it. But this is something I did because we've gotten He-Man. They redid He-Man, the Kevin Smith version of. They've done a couple of reversions of it over the years. They haven't been bad, but this is one that they haven't actually properly done. And there's a lot of storylines they could dive into, and I think could be something that would really sell, toy lines and would actually do really well on it. Netflix, definitely, seriously, pick this up. If you do, I just want tickets to the premiere.
I would love to see that 3D that you were talking about and have it be a little bit more grown up, a little bit more gory.
Yeah.
I think that would kill it.
Yeah.
That would kill it.
But that's the problem. A lot of these brands don't want to taint the original show with like blood.
Well,
and
the
gore.
original is going to be there for those that want it. And just like anything else, when somebody comes out with a reboot of anything and it's like, you know what? The original was good enough for me. I have no interest in seeing this new one, and it lives on that way.
Kat, if everybody thought like you, which I agree with, we would not have the DCU as it is.
There would be world peace.
I can go the distance. Is there a bird character on the far right, like with just like his boxers on? Or
that's one of the ones that was.
That is a kilt.
Vulture.
Vulture Man. Yes,
Vulture
Man.
Monkey Man.
I know it's a poster and everything, but like you need sight beyond sight to see this. I don't think I got
what?
Sight beyond sight.
What you saying?
At least he said sight beyond sight. I mean,
why didn't you go pull up some of your old
He said it's on site. That's what he said. That's what I heard
sight
anyway.
Beyond sight.
No, he's trying to throw shade because he can't see the bottom, but you can see the main part of the whole thing.
He's great.
This
is a graphics issue.
They send me small pictures and get mad when they stay small.
No, that's a lie. No, hold on, Bergie. I'm addressing this. So I literally sent you the link to my picture that I found. It was on you, sir.
It was this big. It was this big.
I sent you the link.
The picture you linked to was this big.
You can click on the picture and enlarge it.
Chat here?
I did.
We are.
It's
We
a
are
side issue,
literally
right?
having a size issue.
It's a size talk, right?
It's not the person. It's the person. It's the motion of the ocean with the person.
I feel like we have a lot of issues here.
It's you and your
We have an
size.
hour-long show.
Insecurity. You and your size
Moving on.
insecurity. Okay, I'm done.
I don't have my pictures are just fine, sir.
Oh, now it's all about you and your picture.
Hello,
gentlemen. Put
Can
your
we move on?
graphics back in your pants and let's move on.
I'll show you my 64 bit.
Let's talk about your next show.
This is one that I would absolutely love to see done in an actual. I mean, I know they did the movie, and I had no issues with some of the characters they had picked for the movie that they did. Bradley Cooper playing Face, I thought was fantastic. Liam Neeson playing Hannibal Lecter. I can't remember the guy's name that played Matt Murdoch. I loved him. I thought he was phenomenal in District 9. He's done some other good stuff. And I had no issues with Rampage Jackson playing Mr. T. And they had a couple of those cameos. Mr. T said he refused to be in it because he was like, it's too violent for me. I don't want to be in it. Because they actually killed people. That's why he said he didn't want to be in it. It was too violent. Yeah, because he was comparing it to his show of the 80s. Okay. But this is something that aired for like 3 or 4 seasons. It was one of those hits that as a kid you absolutely loved and you watched. You loved that van. You saw they had 1 hour to come up with like a plan to defeat the bad guys, and they usually picked some guy's backyard garage somehow, and they made a regular car into a tank that could not be defeated, and they beat all the villains. It was just absolutely amazing. I'd love to see what they could do with that now in today's day and age, and what type of storylines they could come up with and different things to do. How would they evade, surveillance cameras that we have now and different things like that and do this? This would be something really cool, I think. I know the movie did okay in the movie theater, didn't break box office, but that was something that definitely should have a part 2 and keep it, I think, a little bit more light humor in that type of area, because I think that would work better with this.
I think that is the key. I think that is definitely the key, because we have a lot of super serious, like military covert stuff out there, and something like this would be really refreshing. This is what I thought I was going to be getting with the Bad Batch. It wasn't, but this is what I thought I was going to be getting.
But this is something I think could definitely work well. And I mean, I always wanted Jim Carrey when he was at his height in the 90s.
Oh, as Howling Mad Murdoch?
As Howling Mad Murdoch. Come on.
Absolutely. It would have been perfect. I agree. I agree. I agree.
But, hey, it is what it is. We got a good, decent movie out of it. I watch it every once in a while. It's on TV. I stop and tune in and watch it. Jessica Biel's in it too, so it doesn't hurt, So
I would have loved Kevin Hart as B.A. Barrack.
What you gonna do? I knock you out.
Oh my god! And you know damn well The Rock's gonna star in one episode.
Yes, and they're gonna crown each other. Yes, that would be amazing.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
I would tune in for that episode. I really would.
I would take that as a skit on Saturday Night Live, to be honest.
Oh god, that would be hilarious as a skit on Saturday Night Live. All right, so I apologize on this one. I did send a small graphic, so I'm very sorry about this.
It's not about the size of the graphic; it's about the graphic and the size.
It's also about the story that we tell with the graphics that we are provided.
Oh,
That's
now
correct.
you can zoom.
That's correct.
No, I'm out of here.
It's a miracle what magnifying glasses can do for you.
You know what? I'm changing my.
All right, so if anybody from the 80s remembers this movie, Short Circuit, it was about there was like a military robot that somehow got hit with electric lightning bolt, and it somehow recognized itself and developed its own AI. And it didn't want to be shut down, didn't want to be reprogrammed and stuff like that. So this was one of those movies I remember as a kid, I used to watch all the time with my family and stuff like that. This was one of my favorite movies. And he had so many great lines that he would use in the movie, like,
Johnny Five is alive.
Johnny Five's alive. Your mother's a snowblower. And he's like, don't squeeze the Charmin. He used to come up with all of these crazy lines and stuff like that. And they were catchphrases from the 80s all the way into the 90s until, other catchphrases came along. But this was like a good, wholesome family movie. I remember watching it with my family and stuff. Absolutely fantastic. They made a second one of this. And it was really fun. Ali Sheedy was in it. Steve Guttenberg, who everyone knows from, 3 Men and a Lady, Baby, I'm sorry. And other movies that he's done. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm actually geeking out because the guy that is the voice of Johnny Five will be at the convention in Rhode Island this year. And nice. I'm super psyched about it. So I get to meet him. I'm in hunt for a poster to get signed by the guy. because I'm dying to get something done by him. But this is something really cool. And I think now to do something like this in today's day and age, if they re-up this and did it, I think this would be pretty cool if they redid it for like a Netflix or maybe like Amazon Video or something, and do something like that with some of the robots and toys that they could basically do. And almost like anybody, Small Soldiers. Anybody remember that movie? Kirsten Dunst and stuff like that. Something like that, but do it as a robot that comes to life or something like that. And I don't know, some crazy, wacky college adventure or something with some college kids that developed it or something. You could come up with some different storylines.
And we did have a TV show like that in the 80s called Small Wonder with Vicky.
Oh, God, I remember that show. It was so good. Loved that show.
I think that it would I think they've done something similar in like movies and stuff where like, well, of course, we've had a lot of computers becoming self-aware type stories, but I kind of remember
Man with Robin Williams. Weird Science was another one.
The Kid Without a Belly Button. I forgot the name of that show. He was a boy.
XY.
Was it called XY?
Yeah, it was something like that on ABC Family or something like that.
And I thought that was a really great show too. I would like to see something like this in a series, something that's updated. And from this movie, I can never see Nova without thinking, oh, Nova, like no disassemble. But anyway,
no disassemble, Johnny Five.
Great pick.
All right, my last one, and this is one I am absolutely in love with. I loved this movie as a kid. I'm sorry, TV show, and Knight Rider was like the ultimate. When my grandfather was a fire chief for the Pawtucket Fire Department, and he knew I liked this show so much, he used to talk on his walkie, but I thought the car talked at like 6 or 7 years old. So the car would talk to me, and it would be the fire department talking to my grandfather, and I always used to get a kick out of it. And I didn't learn until later on in life that was what it was. But it was something cool that my grandfather would do for me because he knew I loved this show so much. And this was just the adventures they had. Knight Industries that went on here with David Hasselhoff playing the character of Michael Knight. And Michael Knight was it. And then he did the adventures to solve basically war and different things, and to help people that were down in the lucks and different stuff from the military and the government that were being hunted and bad guys and stuff. Absolutely fantastic. They had another one. It was Kit, and then there was Carr. Carr was his bad version of him and stuff like that. But they've done this over and over a couple of times. They've actually made new versions of it in the 90s and 2000s, but they never made it past like 10 episodes of half a season.
Yeah, they couldn't recapture the magic there.
Love it.
Not to mention you have Mr. Feeney as the voice of Kit.
And that was where I was going to go next with it.
Sorry.
And we have William Daniels, who is the voice of Kit, the car, and who's also Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World.
And a sassy bitch at that.
And he is a sassy one. And I like another one I'm super psyched that's coming to Rhode Island this year is William Daniels, Mr. Feeney, and Knight Rider. I'm super excited for this. This has been rumored right now. David Hasselhoff has actually been attached to it for a movie. For this to be potential for movie for the big screen. I think it would be better if it was a TV show, but
I agree.
We'll see what they do. I'd like a TV show. I think actually CBS, where it did MacGyver and it did what was it? It's actually MacGyver. They've done Hawaii Five-0 and a few other shows that they've spinned off of those. Miami Vice was more the movie. They did a movie of that with Jamie Foxx was in it.
They didn't do an updated TV show?
No, Hawaii Five-0 is probably it, and then
that's probably
MacGyver, and then they did the Magnum PI was ones. But this would be something kind of cool. I think they could do. Those are mine. Those are my picks.
Excellent picks.
I had another one, but I didn't want to send it in because I didn't want to hear anybody, gripe.
Camp Cucamonga.
Camp Cucamonga.
Hell yeah!
No.
That's why I didn't send it. That's why I didn't send it.
It's not for you, Reggie. It's for people that have joy in their souls.
I have joy in my
taste.
soul.
No.
Listen, I may be the youngest here, but I'd watch Cap Cucamonga. Just saying.
Good. I have a DVD of it. I'm going to find it.
I also have a DVD of it.
Reggie's like, I'm out, fam. I'm out that day.
We can do a screening.
I will.
Yes.
Comic-Con exclusive screening. Camp Cucamonga. I'm out.
Can you imagine at the after party if we put that?
Don't tempt me. I will.
Hey, no.
It's my after party and I'll do what I want.
If we go down, we go down together.
Hell yeah.
So bad.
I gotta learn. I gotta
Those
learn
are
this one.
excellent picks. Thank you, Mr. Bergie. And that leaves me, which collaged it up because I'm going to preface this by saying it's hard for me to say that I want these shows to come back because to me, these shows have never left. Most of these shows you can find on one of the streaming platforms or you can buy it outright from Amazon or it's available at Walmart and stuff. Yeah, that's 3 out of 5 right now saying do it. So I'm sorry, Grouch and Raw ain't. I'm not reading that. First slide shows, please.
I stand by on my truth. All this time he could have zoomed. All this time.
I know what you're talking about.
What's his name?
You got some
This
good
is
ones
difficult
here.
for me. There are so many great movies that came out in the 80s, and a lot of them still hold up. Of course, there are things that are going to be problematic, but just taking a look here, the more you look, the more you see. So many iconic films. Lost Boys, Can't Buy Me Love. Oh my
Breakfast
gosh.
Club.
Breakfast Club, Princess
16
Bride, Say
Candles,
Anything, 16
Goonies,
Candles,
Labyrinth,
waiting for
Better
that.
Off Dead,
Yes.
Princess
Labyrinth,
Bride, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Flashdance.
You
The
have
more
e-
you look, the more you see.
You even
But
have Dirty Dancing in there.
yes, I do. But there's
Yeah.
more. There's another one of just films too. For other ones that were later 80s, but hit a little bit differently as well because of what they were. All of these movies are available right now.
Yes.
So I don't know if we necessarily need to redo them because sometimes it's hard to capture that magic. Karate Kid, however, is one of those shows that they came back and they came back really strong and they came back really smart by making Cobra Kai. Every season, I sincerely feel is difficult for them to top, but they managed to keep the story going and keep it fresh, and that's why it is so successful. Like I can't wait for the next season to come out.
Now, Kat, there's a few on here like I literally wish they never remake. Like
Yeah.
Princess
E.T.
Bride.
Like
Yeah.
please, E.T. never remake.
And
Princess
that's
Bride,
what I'm
you
saying.
will
Like
you
all
will
of these
butcher it if you
films.
ever remake it. And then if you go back to that one previous she had, the Lost Boys, you could never get that movie again. Like that is a classic vampire style movie from back in that time. You do it now, we call it Twilight.
Well, the films
no.
here live in this little bubble of perfection that don't need to be touched. And that's why I say, like, it's hard for me to look back at this as nostalgia because this is still relevant right now. It lives in the now as much as it did in the past. So I wouldn't like to see any of these things redone, but I wouldn't mind them pushing the story forward with something else. But yeah, please don't ever remake Princess Bride or
No.
E.T. or The Goonies. Like it does not need to be done. It does not. Need to
Every
be
cast
done.
rumors.
member of Princess Bride has all agreed, do not remake this film.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no reason to. And this is actually Princess Bride, especially. I have the book. I actually have several different copies of the book, like in paperback and hardcover and special edition and stuff, because I love the book so much. And yes, the book has more in it than the film, but this is probably one of my most favorite book to film adaptations ever. And that's difficult for a book lover to say because there's always stuff that you wish that they put on the screen that they just can't get there. But this definitely comes as close as you can without it being word for word from the book. And if anyone would like to borrow one of the copies of my book, just let me know. I'll pack it in my bag.
I've got my own.
I would love to actually tell you the truth.
All right,
I've
I
never read the book. I would love to.
I will
actually love to read this book.
I will happily bring the book with me.
I will say one cool thing that they did was with Deadpool. It was a Deadpool 1 or 2.
It was 1.5.
1.5 when they did this and they kind of spoofed the Princess Bride.
Yes, and they made
with Fred Savage and stuff.
Yes.
That was a great spoof. I loved it. That was fantastic. But please never ever redo the Princess Bride.
I mean,
never.
I would also argue, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and then Blew Up the Kids as well. You know, leave those alone because I don't think, and even if I don't think you can recapture the magic of like the first 2 movies, honestly, or just the first movie, honestly.
And they were groundbreaking for what they were at the time. And right now, it would just be another thing.
Didn't they do a TV show on like the Disney Network or Disney show channel?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Honey, I
believe they did. I
like
never
that?
watched it, but I never even really watched the sequels either because this in and of itself was a perfect little movie, and I didn't need to see anything beyond that.
I will go against you and say that they made American Tail, Five Goes West, the second one, and that was amazing. Give them the lazy eye.
American Tail were fantastic for what they were. Both of them. I
love the soundtrack for the second one. I like the song that Tilly sings.
Oh my God! Yeah.
When she's singing in the saloon.
Yeah. Do you remember A Secret of Nymph?
Yep.
That was another good one from back then.
Yep. And this is why, like, I say, like, it's so hard for me to pick one or two things because there was just so much good stuff. But let's move on to, I think, is it TV shows next?
No.
Oh, it's the soundtracks.
God, you got some good ones.
These are some of the best films. Like, the songs are still relevant right now. They're still in heavy rotation right now. You can see them on anywhere. And with apps like TikTok, like social medias like TikTok and Instagram Reels and even Facebook stories, you are seeing these soundtracks being used to this day by kids that are
what's
decades
your top,
beyond this.
This entire list, you have you have 12 top 3 soundtrack on this list.
Oh, okay.
Purple
Just
Rain.
looking at this, yeah, I was gonna say Purple Rain.
Leave her.
Definitely Purple Rain. I would also say Breakfast Club.
Okay.
And
The World Waits. In a world where
Rocky 4.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
For me, it's Breakfast Club is definitely one of them. I love the Top Gun soundtrack. I love it was fantastic. Too. And I'm kind of torn between Dirty Dancing and Rocky 4 because those were like such fantastic. And my mother listened to Dirty Dancing in the car. Oh my God, that tape. All the flipping time.
The reason
I think I have to go with Dirty Dancing because I know every lyric to every song. Like,
and and that's why I didn't go with Dirty Dancing because Rocky 4 for me is probably the more like first, like I'm thinking specific mood. If like Rocky 4 is the best song to kind of have in the background when you're doing stuff because it continues to keep you kind of like, I don't want to use the word amp. Yeah, like amped up, like productive and stuff like that. And that's why I picked Rocky. Like to me, it's like those 3 are ones that I would play all the time. Purple Rain is a freaking masterpiece.
It is.
To this day, it is still a masterpiece. But that's why I was saying like this 80s into 90s kind of like pocket of time was a real renaissance for a lot of these things. And I think I have more on the next, or are we in TV now? Oh yeah, some more iconic 80s albums, not tied in necessarily to, although Flashdance and Footloose are there twice. I didn't even realize that. But anyway, you have some other iconic albums here that live on in heavy rotation to this day.
Michael,
come on,
George Michael, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Paula Abdul, Cyndi Lauper, Duran Duran, Janet Jackson.
You know what's crazy? It's funny because like people who will watch this will understand to an extent like how influential these soundtracks are. Sure, maybe later on, but like you would hear this playing in the house and just know it was good music and not necessarily know what the name of the albums were until later on, right? Or until you saw it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, wow, my mom and dad used to play this, like Thriller, like Janet, like Flash. Like, come on,
Paula Abdul back in the day, man.
They played that, and I was just like, this is fun. What is this? And then years later, I'm like, oh my God, I remember this song.
And these songs have been heavily, like every single one of these albums shown has had their music sampled for a current artist. And all of these things, even when we were listening to it at the time, we knew that we had something special. And I'm sure everyone thinks that about their generation of music. But there was just something about this time and the content that was being put out that just continues to live on today. I mean, and even like, I can't speak for everyone in this group, but I know that at least 2 people know why that Slippery When Wet cover looks the way that it does. Like knows the story behind that album cover.
I mean, yeah.
And that's saying something. Like who knows why people pick what they picked for their album covers, but everybody, well, I don't want to say everybody again, but like I know Bergie and I at the very least knows why that album cover for Bon Jovi looks the way that it does and what it looked like before it got there.
And you look at some of these soundtracks and you see like Faith by George Michael, that album and whatnot, and the music videos I remember they made for it, like him singing in like a shower scene and stuff like that, and watching those videos and you're just like, this boy trying to have music or have sex? Like you don't.
Well,
A
this
lot
was
of
also the age of MTV, and they were
Yeah.
pushing those video envelopes
Yep.
pretty hard at the time.
Yeah. And Madonna with some of her stuff that she did, Paul Abdul with
Yeah,
it, you know,
Janet
with her and
Jackson.
Janet Jackson,
Woo.
come on, like she
On
ripped it up
freaking
back
fire.
in the day. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And then there was Debbie Gibson.
I love Debbie
Sweet,
Gibson.
innocent
We
Debbie.
love, but she was like so sweet and innocent with her little denim jacket and her, you know.
I met Debbie,
Queen of the
Tiffany.
mall.
Yeah, yeah.
I've met both of them. They're actually really
Debbie
cool.
Gibson and Tiffany and you know that whole era. Okay, and now we're on to TV shows. Another collage because there's just so much.
You hit some good ones.
So much. All of these absolutely shaped the 80s and the people that we all have grown to come. There are a couple here missing that might be on the next one, but all of these shows super iconic. You still see clips of from this day. So many people still say, what you're talking about, Willis, and you know,
Silver Spoons was one of those shows that didn't get enough love from back then.
It didn't.
Such a
it
good
didn't,
show.
but it was a great show. And it launched a couple of careers too, and spin-offs and stuff. Who's the Boss? Who didn't love Alyssa Milano? Didn't matter what your sexuality was.
There's talk. They're working on a spin-off of that, where pretty much the entire cast that's alive and whatnot is coming back for it.
Miami Vice. That fashion is iconic. Anyone who dresses like Don Johnson now is just definitely was.
They woke up in a coma.
It definitely has changed what it means now to see somebody dressed like him. But at the time, that was so fashion forward. That was sexy for the time. And 21 Jump Street, as a young woman, I was literally in love with every single member of that team.
Johnny Depp's career right there.
Yeah. And Richard Grieco's career for a hot minute as well.
For a hot minute. Brief minute.
And not to mention the DeLuises, like
Yep.
But anyway, and Roseanne and all this. And then we have here Remington Steele. I loved Remington Steele, but mad at Remington Steele because that's the reason why I didn't get him as James Bond when it should have.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Because he's like, yeah, I'll do your movie. Cool, do it now. Oh,
and then of course the iconic Golden Girls, which is still you can watch on Hulu right now.
And they were ahead of their time with some of the storylines that they
absolutely they talked about homosexuality and AIDS and health issues and treatment of the elderly and the LGBTQ community and people of color, like everything. They were so forward in their thinking, and they were just great show. And then of course we had Knots Landing and Dallas and all of those serial shows that
you struck
made me want to be rich in Texas.
You struck the chord in me. I would love to see the Wonder Years right back. There was something about that show that used to hit me. What was it, every Saturday or whatever it was, whatever syndicated?
Yeah.
Well,
if you'd like to see the actors that were in Wonder Years in something other than that vehicle, I'd love to point you to a made-for-TV special called Camp Cucamonga, where
we're in it.
Where two of the three people in that photo.
Yeah, the kid with the glasses and Winnie Cooper.
Yeah, we're in that movie.
So
is Candace Cameron,
I love
Devin
how you transitioned to that.
Jaleel White. Fantastic.
And then MacGyver, where he got a second win in Stargate SG-1, which I still think is the most successful of all the Stargate shows.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, a lot of the same things that you guys have picked because these shows were just iconic. And that is it for me. That is my 80s. There were some things that I was going to put like Swatch watches and slap bracelets and things like that. But you can still get all of that. Right? So, like, I get it. 80s, that's when we grew up, and we want to have the nostalgia for that. And we can. There's absolutely stuff that just lives in the 80s that you can't get now, like Tab or
Tang.
Oh my God, Tang. Oh my God.
It was so gross.
But for the most part,
even
even like the fashion is available to you right now. So the 80s were not only a great time to live in, it's also great to see our kids and just these younger generations kind of bring in that stuff back, and we can see it again, and this time not have to suffer through actually wearing them.
How did Hawaiian Punch beat Tang though? Like red versus orange? I don't get it.
Orange flavored things are disgusting.
Hawaiian Punch was way better flavored. Way better.
Yeah, it's all about the flavor.
Yeah. And Tang was made for like spaceship, for like astronauts. Remember?
Exactly.
That was astronauts. So that was what it was kind of geared towards. Like, you could have the same thing the astronauts were. And the kids were like, man, we really don't care. Hey, there's a guy with Kool-Aid running through a wall. I want the Kool-Aid.
One thing that I saw at, like, I think it was Five Below or something that I had kind of forgotten about was how much candy we had that looked like cigarettes.
Yo,
about that.
Yo, I
remember those cigarettes that you could blow through it. It would blow out like a puff of smoke.
Yes.
Puff out of smoke. It had like powder on it, and I think those were gum that you.
Yeah, they were.
Yes,
it was gum.
Yes, it was.
And then we had the little like powdered sticks that had the little
Pixie
red
sticks.
tip at the end.
Yeah,
Pixie sticks.
No, not pixie sticks. They were just like little powdered candy sticks that came in a pack like a cigarette.
We had a lot of cigarette influence.
I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna send it to you, Bergie, because I swear to you, it existed.
Basically like you can turn on any TV show or movie and not see like 12 people smoking a cigarette. Back then.
Yeah.
And
now there are advisories saying that they're smoking in an episode.
And there was people that were mad and ticked off because in Stranger Things, the last couple of seasons where they were smoking, they're like, do you understand?
Well, she was chain smoking
80s,
from the very
right?
she was chain smoking at the very beginning.
Exactly.
The 80s, that's what they did.
Yeah. And I'd argue to an extent, some of the cigarettes that came out back then were a lot healthier than they are later in the 90s, which is not saying much. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for it.
They actually, in the 50s and 60s, they actually said that cigarettes were healthy and were good for you.
Yeah, that was advertising. They was
How messed up
advertising.
is that?
Yeah.
They were also used as a dietary aid pretty heavily as well.
Yep.
Instead of grabbing some
eating.
This is turning dark real quick. Let's end on a positive note. So, Lady Sid and I, would you please take us out, Kat?
I will. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm very sorry for my awkwardness as host, but I appreciate you sticking with me to the end. Thank you for joining me, Michael Bergie. Rod does what he wants, and he could have magnified all this time mayhem for joining me on 4-Letter Nerd, a Hyro Geek Geeks Unlimited production.
What we call some shade over here, man.
And I'm hoping that you will join us next week, if for no other reason than to see what other names they give themselves throughout the episode. And with that, I bid you all a wonderful night. Be safe. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.